In this video, I am going to tell you how to man up and face your fears. This has been a topic that has been requested by many of you. You've asked me how to overcome your fears, and stay till the end because I've got a couple of special tips for you at the end where I'm going to basically break down how specifically to get over a fear, how to man up and face that fear. I'm John from BulldogMindset.com, and welcome to this channel where I teach you how to be a man in a modern society. If you want to learn how to develop financial freedom, how to get the physique that you want, and how to get the ladies that you want in your life, you are in the right place. Click that subscribe button, become a Bulldog, and join the Bulldog Mindset. Fear is what holds a lot of us back. It's one of those key things that you're going to have to face as a man in your life. So let's talk a little bit about fear, first of all, and some of the myths around it. I'm a person that has overcome a lot of fears in my life. I used to be scared of a lot of things. I used to be scared of the dark, okay? I used to be scared UFOs were going to abduct me, all right? I used to be scared of of flying in airplanes, of roller coasters. I mean, a lot of shit used to frighten me. Definitely talking to girls. Oh man, that really scared me. First of all, the biggest thing that you need to understand as a man and fear is that fear is not something that you can actively and directly control. So when something happens, all right, and you get an emotional reaction, it doesn't go through your conscious mind, right? You have a subconscious reaction to that, right? The part of your brain that automatically, what's the water boy? And water boy said that my medulla oblongata, okay, right? It doesn't go through your cerebral brain, right? It goes through the more primitive centers of your brain, and it creates an instant reaction, right? That is the emotion. That's how you feel, okay? So you can't control emotions directly, how you feel. And let's talk specifically about fear. So the reason why I'm saying this is because if you see something that scares you, okay, or you think of something that scares you, or you're in a situation that scares you, you cannot will yourself to not be afraid, right? If you're scared of snakes, and I put a fucking snake on your lap, you're going to be fucking scared. It doesn't matter if you say, I'm going to be brave. It doesn't matter if you try to block it out. It doesn't matter what you tell yourself. There is no way that you can stop yourself from being afraid. You're going to be afraid. Now, it doesn't mean that you'll always be afraid of snakes, but you need to understand and accept that fear is uncontrollable, okay? The emotion, the feeling of fear, all right? And this is critical because what a lot of you are doing, and this was my strategy at one point, was one of two things. One of them is to try and block out the fear. That's not a good strategy because you cannot do that. The more that you try to ignore the thing, the more that you're going to feel it. Just like an itch. Like, have you ever had an itch, okay? And then, like your back itches, okay? Now my back's gonna itch because I'm thinking about that. And you have that spot that itches and you're like, I'm just ignoring the shit, all right? It doesn't go away. You feel it more and more and more, okay? The more that you try to ignore the itch, the more that you feel the itch. Whereas at any given time, you have a bunch of itches on your body. You're just not paying attention to them, so you're not feeling them, okay? The same with fear, all right? So that's a bad strategy. Number two is, instead of trying to ignore it and make it go away, you say, well, someday, if I have enough exposures to this fear, I won't have the fear anymore, and so I'll wait until I don't have the fear. Or you try to conquer it in some way. You try to educate yourself. When I was afraid to fly in airplanes, I would read about airplanes, and I'd read about how safe they are, okay, and how they worked and all of this stuff. And I thought, okay, if I learn enough information, okay, and I have enough knowledge, I won't be afraid. It doesn't work that way. Fears and phobias don't work like that. There are rational things, okay? If you've ever seen, I remember watching the show a while back where there had people that had like crazy kind of phobias, like of weird shit, of just like, like a sink or going outside their house, and just weird random shit. And it's like, it's illogical, and they know it's illogical, right? Just like people with OCD, okay? They know it's illogical, but they can't control it because it's compulsive behavior. So fear is emotion, and it is compulsive. You can't control that. Okay, but now, with that said, what you can control, okay, and this is part of the Bulldog mindset. This is the manning up part, and this is what makes you a fucking man, is that you can control courage, okay? In fact, courage cannot exist without fear. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's action despite fear. Courage is action despite fear. Okay, so in any situation where you're feeling fear, what you can do is you can take actual action regardless of that fear. One of the things with learning to get over my fear of flying airplanes was, or flying in airplanes, okay, was that I had to just say, you know what, I'm scared, I'm afraid, I accept it, I'm willing to feel that fear, okay, and you have to feel the fear. You're not trying to block it out. I said, okay, I'm afraid, but guess what? I'm going to fucking do it anyway. Okay, so I booked the ticket, got on the plane, get in the window seat, look out the fucking window, plane is taking off, I'm still looking out the window, I'm scared shitless, but I'm doing it. Okay, I'm making myself do it. I'm not just sitting there with my headphones on praying to God, okay? I am actively facing that fear by having courage, by, and it might not seem like a very courageous thing to you because you maybe never had a problem flying airplanes, but for me at that time, like forcing myself to go through it, a trip that I didn't need to go, that I booked specifically to get on the plane in order to have courage, to face that fear, and sitting at the window seat and looking out at the runway, that was courage, okay, for me. And what happened, actually, after that, was that by facing that fear and having that courage, the fear response went away. It was something I couldn't directly control, but I could indirectly control it, not through exposure, okay, not exposure therapy, but through facing the fear. Exposure isn't enough, right? Just being exposed to fear, right? If you're scared of spiders and you have, and you have spiders all the time crawling on you, it's not going to make you less scared of spiders. You're still going to be fucking scared of spiders. In fact, you're going to be way more scared of spiders because you'll have traumatic experiences. But if you're scared of spiders and you take a spider and you put it on you, okay, and you do it again, now you've had courage. You're scared shitless when it's happening. You're like, fuck, okay, but you've actually implemented courage. That's what it is to man up. And now in the future, you're less likely to be afraid of that situation, okay? Another example, again, a lot for you guys, right? Talking to girls, all right? This was one fear that I had, a huge fear, okay? And I had to actually go forward and actually have the courage to do it. Like, there was no point, as a young guy, I thought that someday, when I mature a little bit and my social skills develop, I won't be afraid to do this. I won't be afraid to talk to girls. I can just go and do this. The day never came. There was never a period where I was just like, oh, okay, I can just do this now. It's fine, all right? No, what had to happen was I had to face that fear and I had to have courage, okay? That's the manning up part. Once I started actually going, I remember I told the story about going to the mall and talking to 50 girls that, in the mall. That day was my plan and my goal. That courage is what made it so that I didn't have that fear anymore. Speaking on stage, same thing. Getting up there and stepping on that stage, forcing myself to do that, having courage. So the big thing here, guys, is that you have to have courage. If you want to overcome fears, you have to have courage. Courage is the way that you man up, and there's no way around this. So many of you guys, you email me, you message me on Instagram, and you're trying to find ways around this, right? Especially, you guys that are trying to get over social anxiety. You want to get a girlfriend, you want to talk to girls, and you're like, okay, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a lot of money, and I'm going to get six-pack abs, and then the girls will talk to me. No, you're going around it. It's not going to solve the problem. No matter how much you build up your confidence in other areas, you're still going to have to face your fears, okay? And that's really, just a critical thing in life, is that you've got to, sack up, and you've got to face those fears, right? And when you start facing those fears, you're going to become a courageous person. You have to develop the attribute of courage. That's what manning up is all about. It's not about not having fears. You're always going to have some kind of fears in your life, all right? So I promised you guys that I would give you sort of a formula for overcoming your fears and manning up. So before I do, though, I want to tell you, if you haven't already, take the Bulldog quiz here. It'll be in the cards. It'll also be, there'll be a link in the description below. It's always on the end screen as well. And that will give you an idea of where you stand as far as manning up, of having the Bulldog mindset. It's really critical that you understand where you are so you can get to where you want to go. That's why I made this quiz, and that's why I have some follow-up emails that I'll send you and some instruction on how that you can start raising that score. So here's the steps. The first thing that you're going to do if you have a fear that you want to overcome and you want to man up, all right, and face that fear, is you've got to acknowledge and accept the fear and feel the emotions of fear. Okay? This might seem like a weak thing. It might seem like a counterintuitive thing, But our instinct is to ignore or try to hide the fear or try to avoid the fear. What we don't want to do is feel the fear. Okay? Feeling fear cannot harm you. Okay? It cannot hurt you. You can be scared shitless, and all that means is that you're shitting. All that means is you've lost bowel control, okay? It's not going to harm you. You're not going to die, all right? You're not going to get shocked to death by fear, all right? If you do, okay, then I don't know, sue me, I guess, after you're dead. But my point is this. The feeling of it is not going to harm you, all right? And that's really what you're fearing. Like that you say, there's that saying, all that you fear is fear itself. All there is to fear is fear itself. That's it. You're afraid of feeling the feeling of fear. Okay, when I had a period of time where I went through some panic attacks, honestly, okay? And it was a horrible, horrible experience. I wouldn't wish it upon anyone. Seriously, it was just bad, all right? And finally, the way that I found the exit from that was that I stopped avoiding the fear. I started to realize, like, okay, whatever is happening, let me just 100% feel this fear. If I'm okay, then there's nothing to fear. And instantly, it cured me of a huge amount of that just because I didn't have something worse. Right? It could only get better. The second thing is that you face the fear. All right? So it's not enough just to feel the fear, but you have to feel the fear in order to conquer the fear. Next, you just choose to have courage. You realize that as a man on this planet, okay, living your life, you are always going to have fear. You have to just make the choice that you're going to do it anyway. You have to say, all right, I have fear right now. I'm scared. I'm scared shitless to go talk to this girl. And here's where we'll get into the third step here, which is convert that fear that you're feeling once you've committed to the action into adrenaline, into excitement. Okay, so there's a physiological thing that happens when you feel fear, and is exactly the same physiological symptoms of excitement or anticipation. All right, that's that fight or flight type of response. All right, and so what you can do is you can imagine, instead of, for example, when I was overcoming my fear of getting on a roller coaster, I remember standing in line for the roller coaster, and I'm like, shit, my heart rate is raising, I'm scared, okay? And then I convinced myself, I said, instead, you know what? It's not fear. I was feeling the feeling, but I instead converted the feeling to excitement. I'm excited, okay? This is going to be a fucking thrill, right? That's the whole thing that makes a thrill ride thrilling, is that you've got that fear. But the people that go on the thrill rides, it's not like they don't experience fear or they don't experience thrill. They've just converted that fear. They treat that as excitement. That's a jolt of adrenaline, okay? They're adrenaline junkies, all right? And that's what you have to be able to do with your fear. It's going to make it easier for you to be courageous. You're going to pick up the sword, you're going to go into battle, and you're going to fucking scream, because that's what it is to live. The best you'll ever feel in life is when you conquer some kind of fear. There's no high better, there's no fucking drug, there's nothing that I know of that is better than facing a fear and conquering it, right? As Conan would say, Conan the Barbarian, what is good in life? To crush your enemy, and to hear the lamentations of their women. All right, that's it. When you conquer your fear, when you crush your fucking enemy, that's the greatest feeling that you're going to have in life. Courage is a muscle. Courage is a skill that you develop over time, and the more that you practice courage, the more courageous that you become, and the more that you can develop that over time. And when you have a high degree of courage, fears don't matter anymore, because fears are level 1 and you are courage level 50. All right, guys, that's all I got for you today. I'll talk to you next time. Take care.